As J.D. Vance flies out to maintain the fragile peace with Iran, did America's most valuable eyes in the sky suddenly go dark over Hormuz, right when Washington needs them most? With a $200 million Triton vanishing over the strait on the eve of peace talks, is this just bad luck, or a warning shot that the Gulf is still a live battlefield? Did the US Navy's prized MQ-4C Triton simply fail on its own, or did it stray too close to Iran's kill zone and pay the price in one of the world's most watched choke points? Crash, glitch, or hostile strike? What really brought down a high-altitude drone built to survive contested skies? And why has no one yet shown proof either way? With war costs spiraling and a Triton gone missing, is Iran now probing how far it can test America's red lines at sea without blowing up the ceasefire talks? Just ahead of critical ceasefire talks, a $200 million US drone has vanished over the Strait of Hormuz, instantly raising fears that the conflict could escalate again from the skies and the sea. A US Navy MQ-4C Triton reportedly disappeared over the strait right after broadcasting an in-flight emergency alert, and then dropped off tracking screens. The aircraft had just finished roughly a 3-hour surveillance sweep over the Gulf and the narrow Strait of Hormuz, monitoring shipping lanes and coastal activity. Trouble began as the Triton turned back toward its home base at Naval Air Station Sigonella in Italy, suggesting something went wrong on the return leg, not during the patrol. Flight data shows the drone squawked code 7700 for a general emergency before it began losing altitude, a sign that its systems, or crew on the ground, detected serious trouble. Open source trackers then recorded a rapid, uncontrolled-looking descent, and moments later the Triton signal vanished completely from public feeds. At one point, the drone's track reportedly showed a slight turn toward Iranian airspace, fueling speculation that it may have drifted into a more dangerous zone. For now, it remains unclear whether the aircraft simply crashed into the sea, was intercepted by hostile action, or fell victim to a critical technical or software glitch. Military analysts are circling around 3 main explanations for the Triton's sudden disappearance, each with very different implications. One theory suggests a catastrophic technical failure, anything from engine issues to sensor or control problems, on the long return leg home. Another possibility is a loss of control shortly after the emergency call, ending in a crash into the Gulf's waters before recovery crews could react. A third scenario points to hostile action or sophisticated electronic interference near Iranian waters, which might have blinded or disrupted the drone. So far there is no verified evidence of a shoot-down, only rising suspicion and a fresh mystery layered on top of an already fragile ceasefire. The MQ-4C is central to how the US Navy watches choke points like Hormuz, acting as its long-range eyes over the ocean in contested waters. It provides long-endurance, wide-area surveillance over sea lanes that carry a huge share of the world's oil and gas exports. By 2025, the Navy was operating around 20 Tritons, with plans on the books to acquire several more to deepen coverage in hotspots. The MQ-4C Triton is a high-altitude, long-endurance unmanned surveillance aircraft built to loiter for over 24 hours at more than 50,000 feet. It has a range of roughly 7,400 nautical miles across maritime zones, allowing it to scan vast ocean areas in a single mission. The platform supports P-8A Poseidon patrol aircraft by providing large-scale ocean surveillance and queuing for closer inspection. In US doctrine, it acts as the primary eyes over the ocean for naval operations, feeding constant data back to commanders. Each airframe is valued at over $200 million when you factor in sensors and support, making any loss both a military and financial blow. Hangzhou-based Jinggan Tech says its ARA-driven Jingqi platform intercepted radio emissions from 4B2s, mapping their movements as they struck Iranian targets. Reports say the system picked up radio signals from 4B2's bombers in the early phase of the campaign, as the US began joint strikes on hardened sites. Jinggan claims these signals were captured despite strict emission control on stealth missions, arguing that even minimal transmissions can be caught by advanced AI SIGINT. The company says AI processing let it reconstruct likely flight routes and a basic post-strike timeline for the bombers, including their return tracks. This came as U.S. B-2s targeted hardened missile infrastructure buried in Iran's mountainous terrain, hitting key elements of Tehran's long-range arsenal. Jingan notes its system mainly detected the aircraft on the way back, not during the deepest penetration phase, giving only partial visibility on the mission profile. The Jingqi platform fuses satellite imagery, signals intelligence, aviation data, and open-source feeds, using AI to build a unified operational picture. Jingan says its system began flagging unusual U.S. activity in the region from January 2026, based on rising surveillance and movement indicators. That activity intensified around February 6 during sensitive US-Iran nuclear talks, and was logged as part of a clear escalation trend. Internally, Jingan assessed this as a US buildup for a possible high-intensity operation, issuing defense security alerts to interested clients. The firm says its platform correlated radio traffic, movement tracks, and deployment signals across feeds, allowing AI models to infer strike packages. Open sources indicate Jingan provides tools to the PLA, Chinese state bodies and defense contractors, placing it inside China's security and defense tech ecosystem. Its staff reportedly includes former intelligence officers and engineers from Alibaba, Huawei, and Baidu, combining state security experience with big tech AI skills. The apparent loss of a Triton comes just as new reports highlight how fast America's costs in the Iran war are spiraling. Estimates by SIPRI suggest the US is burning through roughly $10,300 every single second to sustain its current campaign. Munitions and missiles alone are said to cost about $320 million per day, making up more than a third of daily expenses. Air operations are estimated at around $245 million per day, with naval deployments tacking on another $155 million daily. As Iranian missiles continue to menace the Gulf, running layered missile defense systems is believed to cost close to $95 million each day. Intelligence and cyber operations add roughly $45 million per day, while logistics and support take about $30 million more. And all of this unfolds as a key surveillance drone vanishes just a day before Washington and Tehran are due to sit down for talks, casting a long shadow over the meeting before it even starts. After more than a month of heavy fighting, US and Iranian delegations are set to meet in Islamabad on April 11 for formal ceasefire talks. The US team will be led by Vice President J.D. Vance, joined by Envoy Steve Witkoff and Advisor Jared Kushner at the table. Just before boarding Air Force One, Vance said Washington is ready to extend the open hand and seek a deal, if Tehran comes to the talks in genuine good faith.
We're looking forward to the negotiation. I think it's going to be positive. We'll, of course, see. As the President of the United States said, if the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive. So we're going to try to have a positive negotiation. The President has gave us some pretty clear guidelines, and we're going to see. So I hope you guys have a safe flight. We'll certainly take some questions later on. But for now, let's get on the plane and hit the road. Thank you all.
The Iranian delegation arrived in Pakistan's capital Islamabad overnight on April 11th, after initial confusion prevailed over its presence in the high-stakes talks. The delegation consisted of senior officials, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf. The talks also open as the ceasefire remains fragile, with heavy Israeli strikes on Lebanon threatening to drag Iran and the US back toward confrontation.